Chapter 20. Viral Visual Loops. The loop is the new music video. A viral visual loop is a repeatable image action unit, a short combination of sound, movement, styling, facial expression, setting, gesture, or camera behavior that can be watched again, copied, remixed, and recognized instantly. It is not simply a viral moment. A moment happens once. A loop is designed, or accidentally discovered, to happen again and again. In the modern music economy, the loop has become one of the most powerful identity engines. It takes the compressed identity described in the previous chapter and gives it motion. The thumbnail becomes a gesture. The outfit becomes choreography. The color palette becomes a repeatable background. The facial expression becomes a meme. The hook of the song becomes inseparable from the visual action attached to it. The older music video was a destination. Fans clicked, watched, and consumed a finished object. The viral loop is different. It is a template. It invites replication. A music video says, "Look at this world." A viral loop says, "Enter this pattern." That difference changes everything. The artist is no longer only designing for spectatorship. They are designing for participation. Their visual identity must survive not only their own performance, but thousands or millions of imitations by fans, dancers, influencers, comedians, editors, stylists, and casual users. The loop turns recognition into repetition. And repetition is how identity becomes culture. From image recognition to behavioral recognition. But in viral environments, these identities become most powerful when attached to repeatable behaviors: a pose, a transition, a dance count, a lip-sync format, a strut, a camera stare, a hand movement, a facial reaction, a costume reveal, or a scene change. This is behavioral branding. Modern artists are not remembered only by how they look. They are remembered by what their image does. A Billie Eilish image may be recognized through oversized clothing, withdrawn posture, and toxic color codes. A Doja Cat image may be recognized through surreal styling, theatrical beauty distortion, and internet-aware performance. A Bad Bunny image may be recognized through sunglasses, fluid masculinity, Caribbean confidence, and playful defiance. A Blackpink image may be recognized through luxury styling, sharp choreography, and member-specific glamour. But in viral environments, these identities become most powerful when attached to repeatable behaviors: a pose, a transition, a dance count, a lip-sync format, a strut, a camera stare, a hand movement, a facial reaction, a costume reveal, or a scene change. This is behavioral branding. The audience does not just identify the artist. They reenact the artist. A logo can be recognized. A loop can be performed. When fans perform the loop, they temporarily borrow the artist's identity system. They wear the emotion, attitude, rhythm, posture, and sometimes the fashion code. That borrowed identity spreads farther than traditional marketing because it gives the audience a role. People do not share only what they admire. They share what they can use to express themselves. A viral visual loop succeeds when the artist's identity becomes useful to the audience. The anatomy of a viral visual loop. A viral loop usually contains several components, even when it appears spontaneous. The strongest loops are simple enough to imitate but specific enough to trace back to a song, artist, or aesthetic world. The sonic trigger. Every viral visual loop begins with a sonic trigger, the moment in the song that tells the body what to do. This may be a beat drop, a lyric punchline, a vocal pause, a laugh, a bass hit, a chant, a whispered phrase, or a rhythmic switch. The sound creates the timing structure. Without a strong sonic trigger, the visual loop often feels arbitrary. The sonic trigger does not need to be the chorus. In many viral cases, the most reusable section is a pre-chorus, ad-lib, instrumental break, or lyric fragment. Short-form platforms reward moments that resolve quickly. The audience needs a clear beginning, a satisfying middle, and a replayable end within seconds. This is why contemporary songwriting and visual identity now interact more closely than before. A song with a built-in pause may invite a facial expression. A beat switch may invite a transition. A repeated lyric may invite a gesture. A bass drop may invite a clothing reveal, hair flip, or camera movement. The strongest artists and creative teams understand that the viral loop is not always added after the song is finished. It can be anticipated during the creative process. The visual hook. The visual hook is the most memorable thing the viewer sees. It may be an outfit, a pose, a color, a prop, a hairstyle, a location, a lighting condition, or a camera angle. Sometimes it is extremely simple: pink hair against a neutral room, a mask in a low-lit hallway, cowboy styling in a suburban bedroom, chrome sunglasses in a car, or a school uniform silhouette in a dance studio. The hook must survive compression. It needs to read on a phone screen, often without sound, in vertical format, while competing with everything else in the feed. A good visual hook can be described in one phrase: the green roots, the red suit, the cowboy hat, the ski mask, the giant boots, the black and pink stage palette. The phrase matters because audiences transmit identity through language as well as image. If a visual code can be named easily, it can circulate more easily. The repeatable action. A loop is not just a look. It needs action. The action may be choreographic, but it does not have to be complex. Complexity often works against virality. The ideal repeatable action is clear enough for non-professionals to attempt, but stylized enough that skilled performers can elevate it. This is one reason hand choreography, upper body movement, and facial acting work so well on short-form platforms. Full-body choreography requires space, training, and camera distance. Hand gestures and facial expressions can be performed in bedrooms, cars, bathrooms, elevators, classrooms, backstage areas, and sidewalks. Repeatable action also includes non-dance formats: pointing to text, lip-syncing a line, walking toward the camera, cutting from casual clothing to performance styling, turning the head on a beat, freezing at a lyric, or using a prop at a precise moment. A loop becomes powerful when the action feels inevitable. The viewer hears the sound and already anticipates the motion. The identity residue. After the loop ends, what remains? This is the identity residue, the memory the viewer carries after watching. A viral clip may generate views, but if it leaves no residue, it does not strengthen the artist's brand. Identity residue might be a color, silhouette, attitude, symbol, styling code, emotional tone, or character type. It is the difference between "that trend was funny" and "that artist has a world." Many viral sounds become detached from their creators because they produce behavior without identity. The song travels, but the artist disappears. For musicians, this is a dangerous form of success. It creates exposure without ownership. The goal is not simply to make people use the sound. The goal is to make the sound bring the artist's image with it. Why some loops travel? Viral loops travel because they solve a social problem for the audience. They give people a ready-made way to express confidence, humor, romance, transformation, sadness, beauty, rebellion, glamour, awkwardness, power, or cultural belonging. The user does not have to invent a new language from zero. The artist provides the structure. This is especially important for younger audiences, who use platforms not only to consume culture but to perform identity. A loop becomes a costume that can be worn for 15 seconds. For this reason, the most successful loops often sit between specificity and openness. If the loop is too specific, only the artist can perform it convincingly. If it is too generic, it loses connection to the artist. The best loops create a recognizable frame with enough room for personal variation. A dance challenge can be performed by a professional dancer, a fan in a bedroom, a group at a party, or an athlete in a locker room. A styling transition can be adapted to luxury fashion, thrifted fashion, drag, cosplay, streetwear, or everyday clothing. A lip-sync format can become comedy, confession, flirtation, or criticism. The loop gives the audience a script. The audience supplies themselves. The stage-to-feed feedback loop. The viral loop does not live only online. It increasingly shapes live performance. An artist may notice that a certain gesture, lyric, or transition spreads on TikTok, then enlarge it for the stage. The lighting cue becomes sharper. The choreography becomes more defined. The camera shot becomes more intentional. The costume is adjusted so the movement reads clearly from the back of an arena and from a vertical fan clip. This creates a stage-to-feed feedback loop. The stage produces content. The feed tests what travels. The viral fragment returns to the stage as a ritual. Fans arrive already knowing the move, the lyric, the pose, or the visual code. When the moment happens live, the crowd does not merely watch. They complete the loop. That collective repetition creates belonging. This is why fan fashion at concerts matters. When audiences arrive in an artist's color palette, silhouette, makeup style, or era-specific costume, they extend the loop into physical space. The visual identity is no longer only on stage. It is distributed across the room. At that point, the artist has achieved something deeper than virality. They have created a shared visual language. Case patterns across archetypes. Each visual archetype produces different kinds of viral loops. The chameleon creates loops through transformation. The repeatable pleasure is change itself, before and after styling, character reveals, beauty mutations, genre shifts, and unexpected visual turns. Doja Cat and Lil Nas X show how transformation can become a recurring event rather than a one-time surprise. The minimal icon creates loops through restraint. A small gesture, color field, facial expression, or repeated silhouette can become powerful because the system is so reduced. The audience learns to read tiny changes as meaningful. The character builder creates loops through roles and choreography. K-pop systems excel here because each member, movement, and styling concept can generate fan participation. The loop is distributed across a cast. The anti-star creates loops through refusal, awkwardness, concealment, or emotional contrast. Billie Eilish's early identity showed how an artist can become visually viral without traditional glamour. The loop is often a posture, turning away, slouching, staring, hiding, whispering, or disrupting beauty norms. The myth creator creates loops through symbols. Travis Scott's world building and Lil Nas X's transformation show that a repeated image can feel like an artifact from a larger universe. The loop does not merely promote a song, it expands mythology. The cultural symbol creates loops through specificity. Bad Bunny and Burna Boy demonstrate how local codes, language, movement, color, and styling can become globally recognizable without being diluted. The loop carries a world with it. These patterns matter because artists should not design loops generically. The right loop depends on the kind of identity being built. A viral strategy that works for one archetype may weaken another. The future of the viral visual loop. As artificial intelligence, augmented reality filters, virtual performers, and generative video tools become more accessible, viral loops will become easier to produce and harder to own. Anyone will be able to create transformations, face filters, stylized outfits, synthetic dance clips, and surreal environments with minimal resources. This will raise the standard for identity. When visual novelty becomes cheap, coherence becomes more valuable. The artists who win will not be the ones who generate the strangest image once. They will be the ones whose loops feel connected to a recognizable world. The future loop may be interactive. Fans may apply an artist's visual system to their own bodies through filters. They may enter virtual concert spaces wearing era-specific skins. They may remix official choreography with AI-generated backgrounds. They may turn an album palette into personal avatars, profile images, or augmented fashion. But the core question will remain the same. What repeats? A visual identity becomes powerful when its signals can repeat without becoming empty. The loop is the test. If an artist's image can be compressed, performed, copied, mutated, and still returned to the artist, the identity is strong. If it dissolves into generic trend behavior, the identity needs refinement.